It's time for the first sprint race of this season here at Imola, of course. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, as we are currently at 45 subscribers and I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers as fast as possible. So if you haven't subscribed yet, then please do that. As you can see, we are once again at the facilities and we are upgrading the resource point development or generation, I should say, on the aerodynamics department. As we had once again $5 million. You can see we are at 3.6k resource points, which can only mean one thing: we are spending them. And we are spending them on only one department. It's the aerodynamics, who is getting 2 major upgrades just in time for the Miami Grand Prix. So not for this episode, but for the next one. So subscribe for that episode, of course. If you are still watching, then please comment Miami. Let's do that. Let's please everybody comment Miami, as we are now going to the Emilia Romagna qualifying, and hopefully we have some pace to get ourselves into the top 16 or even the top 10. Of course, with us driving with 22 cars, it means that the top 16 will go through to qualifying 2, but it's still the same with qualifying 3, as we are here in our first flying lap, and you can see Max Verstappen not getting out of the way at all. Thank you very much for that one. So we lose a bit of time there, I think around 1/10 of a second. But of course in qualifying, where the top 10 is separated by only 5/10 or even less, then you really don't want to get any interruption into your lap from another driver or just a small error. So we want to avoid that. So luckily we do have enough time to get another lap, as we put in a 1:16.6. It's 3/10 of Vettel his time. And you can see we had a purple turf sector, so we are really happy with that. As only 40 seconds in the session remaining, we are in P15 with Jensen Button right behind us. Hopefully he can be fast enough to overtake everybody as well and get into qualifying 2, as he is just holding on to that 16th position, and we are starting our final lap. Let's see what we can do then, as we are equal to our previous time through the start finish straight, and through to sector 2 we go. We are 2.5 tenths up on Schumacher this time, but we are almost half a second faster than our own time. Qualifying is done, so let's see what we can do as we are coming to this beautiful chicane. I really love it, because I can throw the car in like a crazy man and still get a good exit out of it. We improved by almost 6 tenths, and we finish this session in what position it is? Is it P11? Thank you very much for that one. Okay, so we are through to qualifying 2. Let's see what our teammate has done. He's not in the top 14. Then where is he? Unfortunate, he is in P18. So that means that he will be starting the sprint race from P18. Of course, not the race itself. So let's just move on to qualifying 2, as there is more to happen there. As you can see, we exceeded the track limits, but we didn't get a invalidated lap. So lucky us, we could say. As we really have the pace in this qualifying session, I'm really happy with that. As I haven't driven here in a while. I think the last time I drove here was when I was recording the episode of last season, as we are putting in a new banker lap. It's a 1:16.8, which is 2 tenths slower than Charles Leclerc. So that's really good, as we are now coming down to the last lap of this session once again. It's us down in P14, Leclerc in P12, so we will see some changes, as still Sergio Perez is behind us. Qualifying is complete, and let's see what we can do, as we are improving 4 tenths right now, and we are in P15, so we really need to make up some time to get into qualifying 3. Of course, it may be not possible for us this time, but we will hang on to this lap as best as possible, as we are coming to the start-finish straight. It's an improvement of 9 tenths. Is it enough? I think it is. I think we are through to qualifying 3. And yes, we are. We are in P4. So hopefully we can get in a beautiful position for qualifying 3. I don't know in which position that will be. We will find it out sooner rather than later. As you can see, still 7/10 off. And both the McLarens were out of qualifying 2, but as we are coming to an end of qualifying 3, you can see P7, 4/10 off pole position. We did a really great job. But that was the maximum of our car in this session. But still, P7 is an amazing job for our car, as we are still a midfield car, and the pace is extremely close together. As you can see, the top 4 within a tenth of a second. But here we go then for the sprint race. Everybody is starting on the medium tires, and we are as well, of course. Let's hope that we can gain a few positions at the start and maybe finish in the top 5. Of course, that is some high expectations from us. But we are starting in P7 for this 11 lap long race. So let's see then what we can do at the start of this session. Here we go. It's lights out and away we go. Alonso having a magnificent start. You can see I don't know why it's cut there, but never mind. We are in P10, so we dropped down a few places. Luckily, no damage for us so far, as Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel are really close behind. They are trying to overtake me, but we stay ahead of them. We are currently in P10, which means that we are not getting any points from this session. But we are still in the top 10 to start the final race, or the big race as I should say. As you can see, we run wide at our favorite corner at the track. Luckily we don't lose any positions as we are coming to the end of lap 1. Still close behind Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. So hopefully we can stay close behind them and maybe get DRS and overtake them, as I really feel that the pace is still here in the car. With the 2 McLarens still behind us. They have been pretty strong this season. So as long as we can keep them behind, we should be fine. A little bit of oversteer through that chicane. And coming to lap 3 then.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it. Okay, DRS will be
the Imola curse is real. I don't know why, but we haven't had a single good race at this track. It's absolutely unbelievable, and yes, it's a critical problem. We have an 80% gearbox change, and that is us out of the race. We are starting the big event in P20. No, not that even in P20, in P22.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Vettel, and Kevin Magnussen, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris, and Button, Albon, Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi, and Robert Schwartzman, Stroll, Joe, Gasly, and the engineer. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
So now that you can see that we have even got a penalty, that was because we had to change the gearbox. I don't know what's happening here right now with the Haas and myself. Of course, I'm not in control of my own car during the formation lap. But here we go then. You can see 22 place grid penalty. I could have easily got everything changed, but I didn't, as we are away because the lights are out. And here we go then for the big event. You can see first lap of 32. We have already lost almost a second to the car ahead, but we gain it all back into turn 1. A lot of contact is happening between everybody except for me, of course, because I want to take it really slow. Not because my pace is slow, just because I don't want to crash into anybody. I want to get safely through this pack and hopefully maybe get some points, as that would be an ultimate comeback. But of course we are in Imola, so we won't know if that will happen until we see the checkered flag. First lap is already done. We are dropping down a little bit, but you can see here in our favorite corner we are already going so slow, even though we were almost 1 second behind at the beginning of that corner. So lap 1 is done, and you can see until Schwarzman, or actually I should say until Tsunoda, everybody is close together, but then there is already a gap forming. You can see Schwarzman has fallen down the order, down to P21 and maybe even to P22 as we are overtaking him around the outside. Let's go, mate. But if you look at the minimap, you can see a big gap forming between, I think that is Kevin Magnussen and the guys in front of him. Or is it Guan Yu Zhou? No, that's Sao. Or is it? I don't know. Doesn't matter too much. But as we are in lap 3, we didn't manage to finish that one when we were in a sprint race. Luckily we do now, or as long as possible until the car gives up. You can see Pierre Gasly into the pits. He had some damage in collision with some of the other drivers. I think it was Lance Stroll maybe, or even Sebastian Vettel, one of the Aston Martins. I thought it was, as we are currently setting in a fastest sector 3, and I wanted to ask my engineer, like, hey, what's the fastest lap? But he didn't want to tell me. He didn't want to tell me the fastest lap until, I think right now, somewhere. Thank you very much for that one. So we are still 1 second off the fastest lap, and we are of course in a 95 racing car and not in a Red Bull or a Ferrari. So I don't think we will be chasing that time down anytime soon. Maybe in a couple of races we will be faster, of course, with those 2 major aerodynamic upgrades. But until that time we need to wait. Hopefully they will both come through for the next episode, as in Miami we do need some downforce to get through those corners quickly and smoothly, of course, as we have now caught up to the guys in front. Gasly is not the guys in front, it's Tsunoda and Zhao. As you can see now, Carlos Sainz here with his Ferrari in Imola, and out of nowhere he is gone. Where is he? Oh, he has a DNF. It's also a Imola curse for Carlos Sainz, who has a DNF.
There appears to be an issue. We're currently investigating.
And maybe so do we. Thank you very much. We have once again a penalty. Or not a penalty.
Okay, it's not good news, I'm afraid. Seems like an engine issue.
An engine issue, not a penalty, luckily. But it's not fatal, it's not critical. It doesn't mean that we need... it doesn't mean that we need to retire the car. But of course we will lose some power. As you can see, we've already dropped back 1.2 seconds. And I can tell you until lap 23, 24, sometime around that, we will lose a huge amount of time. Because our acceleration has dropped off massively. And now we've lost time to the guys in front, and even Robert Schwarzman. You can see the speed he has compared to us. Of course, he has the DRS, maybe even ERS turned on. But you will see just in a few seconds time that he has already driven away from us like we are in a F2 car. And we ran wide, luckily no damage. Maybe a little bit of damage to our talent. But that doesn't matter too much, as now in lap 10 you can see 2 seconds back from Schwarzman and 2... Oh, safety car deployed. What has happened here? Is Leclerc having a DNF as well? Is it a double DNF for Ferrari here at Imola? No, it's not. It's just Leclerc in the grind, in the gravel trap. And he is in the mud, we could say. everybody's into the pits as we were almost at our pits window. So we are all changing to the hard compound tire, and hopefully we can gain some positions here as we didn't have the fastest of pit stops. But luckily we do come out ahead of Nicholas Latifi, which means that we are now in P17. Safety car is in this lap. That can only mean one thing: we are getting overtaken by everybody because our engine is shit. Thank you very much for that one, and goodbye. Hopefully you didn't leave now, because that would be very sad. But it is safety car restart at lap 13. Here we go. You can see we've almost lost a second to Charles Leclerc. Of course, with that restart, we are not fastest one with that one. As Nicholas Latifi has to look down the inside. Luckily, no overtaking there. But you will never know when he is overtaking us, as we get our first track warning, our first track limits warning. But you can see here now at the end of lap 13, he puts it around the outside, down the inside of this corner, but around the outside of the last two corners. But we have a log up, and we hold him behind for now. Charles Leclerc is only a second ahead of us. He has not grown that gap. You can see Nicholas Latifi out of nowhere, or actually just as predicted, he will overtake us. Oh, will he? Are we going to fight back with him, Williams? I don't know. Are we? No, we are not. We are just letting him through. And that's us down to P18, unfortunately. And now you can see lap 15, it's P19 and maybe even P20. Or maybe not. We are fighting back. Maybe a dirty move, but maybe it's just because we were so pissed at the game. And you can see we even have some wing damage, so that's not even good at all. We know that wing damage is good. Luckily, it's not as effective as it was in last year's game, so we can still continue. You can see now it's Alonso into the pits. He didn't pit during the safety car, he was the only driver, as Lance Stroll is now overtaking us, and so is Pierre Gasly down our inside this time. And we just have nothing to say against those drivers. Of course, they are not in much faster cars, but it's just the engine who has given it up. So that will only mean one thing: we are changing engine suppliers for next season. Of course, we are only in season 2. Let me know in what season you think we will end this series before the start of Formula 1 2023. Of course, there's a long way still ahead. But we... Oh god. We spun. Everything can happen, as you can see. As even though we don't have that much space, we can even make it worse. Thank you very much for that one. A bit of oversteer as well out of... You want to say me that the engine has fixed itself right now? I have spun not that long ago, which means that I'm now 15 seconds down the road of Alonso. I am 15 seconds behind the next car. It's lap 24. We can't do anything. But you can see, it's the first lap that we have our engine back, and it's immediately a green sector 1. And we are going to improve on our own personal best as well. As you can see right here, right now is a 1:18.6. And the gap to the car in front is only 13.7 seconds. So we are moving towards them, but you can see we are into the pits right now because there wasn't much to do and I wanted to have a spicy ending. So we are changing to the soft tires and a new front wing. But as you can see, we might even get laps as the leaders are now coming around the last corner and onto the start finish straight into lap 30, I think it is for them. And you can see Max Verstappen is still in the lead with Lewis Hamilton close behind him. But as you can see, we are now at the end of lap 29 and they are still in front of us. It's Sebastian Vettel in P3, so maybe another podium for him, which would be really great to see him getting so many podiums, or even a win maybe in a few races time once again. But you can see the gap to the car in front is 12 seconds because Pierre Gasly has also pitted for the soft tire, so maybe we won't even get the fastest lap. But we are improving ourselves in that first sector. So let's just see what we can do. as we have a purple second sector, and we are very close behind Ocon in the Alpine. So let's see if we are putting in a fast lap, and yes we are. Is a 117.385. Thank you very much for that one. As we are now coming to the end of this race, is only one lap remaining. Oh, never mind, it is not, because we have been lapped, which means that we are now finishing the final corner, and we go over the finish line, which means that we have now finished the race. Lewis Hamilton wins the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and we finish this race in a terrible 20th position. So Zhao Guanyu got driver of the day, and hopefully our teammates did a good job as well.
And that's it then for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And what a sensational victory they've managed to pull off here. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
So Lewis Hamilton wins the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix with Max Verstappen in P2. And Daniel Ricciardo finished on the last spot on the podium. It's still a beautiful spot for him to be once again up on the top 3 steps. We unfortunately didn't manage to do that this time, as we finished it in the last place of the still running cars. So that means that we are not doing a good job, as Jenson Button finished in P8. These are his first points in Formula 1 since he has left from McLaren in 2017. So thank you very much for doing such a great job when I couldn't do it. You can see Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz DNF. And this can only mean one thing, that Jenson Button is now up into P13. And we are only 1 point ahead of Haas. So we need to get on with it and try to get some points in the next episode and further on. We are now on a total of 11 points, and hopefully we can double that in the next episode. Of course, with those major upgrades, as our rivalry breakdown is now +3 for us and +4 for Pierre Gasly. Luckily, we are still 3 points ahead, so that will mean that we are still in a chance for getting that rivalry win. Our team acclaim, not much changes there, as we are still level 12 and our team is still level 16, and we are getting the full $670,000 from our bonuses, and now that brings us up to a total of 4.4 million. Will we spend it next episode? That you will need to wait for until next episode. So please like and subscribe this video, of course. If you have enjoyed the Curse of Imola once again, then please like and subscribe. And if you haven't seen the video that is up right now on the screen, then please click on it, as we are changing the sponsorship. Next episode. See ya. Goodbye.